Good morning. Quite a quick one this morning because I've got a lot of things to do today. Got to give the car a bit of TLC. Need to get up the allotment as well. So me and Twinkle, where's she gone? Hey Twinkle. We've just come out for a very quick little local one. This is one of the places that I come at least once a week because it's very close to home. It's as close to home as Tottenham Castle. But you don't have the risk of dog poisoning going on here. So Twinkle can have a nice little run. And I know this place very, very well because I grew up just over there. So the things that I would wanted to show you, it's not a massive historical place or anything like that, but there's just a few little bits and pieces I wanted to show you. And two of them depend on damp weather, which we've had lots of lately. So let's jump in quick before things start to heat up too much. And we'll start off with the fairy rings. I don't know if you can see, dotted around here, we've got these little arcs of green, very green looking grass, what people call fairy rings. There's some bigger ones down there, and if we have a look going up the hill towards the downs and the quarry, there's a couple there, there's one there, and there's a particularly large one up there. Let's go and have a look at that one. Where's Twinkle? She loves it here because it's a particularly doggy place. She's got plenty to sniff. Here's that big one, look. Well, big two. Step back a little bit. There you go. They're dotted around all over the field here, these fairy rings. Can you see more? Can't really see the ones down there so clearly, but you can see some just over there. There's a few dotted about. I think most likely, well, quite likely, these are going to be fairy ring champignons, which are supposedly edible and delicious. Yeah, there's a fair chance that it's this one here, the fairy ring champignon. I've probably eaten them, to be honest. I buy those packs of mixed wild mushrooms. It's highly likely that I've eaten these. And if they are fairy ring champignon, they're likely to start fruiting pretty soon. May through till November, apparently. I don't think I'd actually eat them from here, though, to be honest, because it's a very doggy place. There's Twinkle harassing another walker. Oh yeah, have a little wee on the dandelions, good girl. If she's my example to go by, the second she sees something like a mushroom sticking up in the middle of a bare field, that's it, that's a post. That's a place to go and wee on. So don't eat mushrooms from doggy places, is my advice. Just up through there is Kensworth Quarry. That's still a big working quarry. And it backs onto Dunstable Downs, backs onto Kensworth. On this side it joins Dunstable. We're not going to go up there today because that takes you off on a fairly longish old walk. So Twinkle knows where we're going, don't you, Twinkle? She's straight down there. We're going to nip into the woods. We'll take a short walk up through the woods. And then we'll go and see a spring. And it's the spring that got me interested in springs in the first place. I was fascinated with it. So yeah, come on then Twinkle, we'll go through the woods and we'll go and have a look at that little spring. Into Mentmore Woods. It's a real mix of trees here. You've got broadleaf and you've got a fair few areas of pine trees as well. And of course lots of the low-level native scrub type stuff going on. Now not too far up here, we're going to find quite an extensive badgers set. Wow, this one's come over in the last Oh, I was last here last Sunday evening, so that's yeah, 6 days ago. That wasn't here last week. Must have been the wind. Yeah, let's go and have a look at that base there. Yeah, that's looking pretty rotten from... Oh yeah, very rotten. Look at that. No wonder it came over. It's only the core there. What do they call it? The inner middle bit. Whatever they call that. Even that's got rot on it. But you can see all around that it's completely gone. Well, there's no denying that was your time, mate. Come on, Twinkle, let's find badgers. Here's number one. You can see that it's such a huge hole. People have been putting logs across it to stop anybody falling down or dogs disappearing down there. I have to be quite careful with Twinkle here. Quite often when I'm out walking, I'll leave my phone at home. But if I come here, I'll make sure I've got my phone with me, because Twinkle's a terrier. She's a Jack Russell and she can't resist a hole like that. So I like to be in a position where I could, in an emergency, call Rachel and say, we have a situation. Bring sausages and a shovel. There you go. That's just the first one I've come across. There's a few more further up the track. There's a bit of growth going on around the entrance, which badgers don't usually tolerate. They'll usually scratch all that away and have a nice clear entrance. So I'm guessing this isn't currently inhabited. But it's a huge old hole, and there's more of them along there. So there's a whole network going on. Where's the next one then, Twinkle? There's another entrance just up the path into the set. And again, you can see all of this broken, fallen twigs and leaves and everything else, and there's all weeds growing up around it. What we got there, we got cleavers. We've got cow parsley. Is that cow parsley or is it hemlock? No, there's no purple on the stems, so that's cow parsley. All of this litter, that would be cleared away if that was inhabited at the moment. Now here's a slightly different situation. I think this one might be in use. This is just off the track a little bit further down the slope. You can see all this fresh spoil that's been dug out. Okay, there's one or two weeds in the entrance, but it's not full of broken twigs and leaves like the ones up there were. I think this one might still be in use. This last week or two, everything's gone so green. Sorry, Twinkle. Actually, what am I apologising to you for? Anyway, everything's gone so green. Definitely spring now. Not a bluebell wood. A forget-me-not wood. Oh, I'm going to slip. Looks like there's a battle for the skies going on between the ivy and the trees. I wonder who's going to win out on that one. Climbing upwards a bit now, up towards Kensworth Quarry, and once we get to the top, we'll start to descend again, just over the other side, and we'll have a look at Mentmore Spring. It's all very steep and muddy. Just coming up to the top now, just about to leave the woods. So these are the woods where I used to come and drink cider and meet girls. I won't say how old I was because I saw my 11-year-old nephew up here the other day. I wasn't 11, let's put it that way, Brad. I know you wouldn't do anything like that. Come on in, Twinkle. Come on. Kensworth Quarry's just over the other side of those hedges there. Like I said though, we won't bother with that today. This is just a quick one. There's the spring. Again, where we used to drink cider and meet girls. Ignore that. That is what I believe is known as a town. A town, I think. This is what we like. You can see in an otherwise fairly open landscape this little spring here, which sits in the classic place for a spring, a little low V in the side of the Chalk Downs. There's a temporary spring that comes through there, and you can see all of this growth that's going on around it. This is, for want of a better word, it's artificial. I don't know who it was, the National Trust or the council or whoever looks after this bit. They've done all of this planting and they've cut little channels into the spring as well to spread its flow and create a marshier environment. So it's all for the good, and it's all very nicely done. Years and years ago, when we used to come and sit up here and look across the town over to Blowsdowns, and that's Caddington over there. When we used to come and sit up here, none of this growth was here. It was just a grass downland, and there was a little channel, a little chalk channel that the spring had cut its way down. That channel is still there, but as I say, all of these little offshoots that they've dug into it, and they've put up little dams as well to slow the flow and let it all spread and make this little marshy bit. Great for the birds, great for the amphibians. Let's go and have a look down there. You take the high road, and I'll take the low road. There's just as much moss these days as there is grass, where they've sort of done this little marshy management program up here. Lovely moss everywhere. Now in that patch there, that's where the spring kind of rises. It's not an exciting spring. It's not a very what's the word, dynamic, mobile spring like you've got at Barton or somewhere like that. There you go, there's your first glimpse of a little bit of water down there. It just seeps up into a muddy puddle, bubbles its way down there. All of these trees and everything, this is all recent planting. This has all been put here by somebody since they've started to manage the spring into a bit of a habitat. Let's follow it down there a bit. All of these weeds, well, weeds, I call them weeds because they are weeds on my allotment. Here, of course, they're wildflowers and they're hugely beneficial. But what you're mostly looking at here is marsh willow herb, which is a very close relative of the willow herb that I was tearing out of my carrot beds up the allotment the other day. You can see they've slowed it all down and widened it out and turned it into a little wetland habitat. If you come and have a quick look down here, you can see a good example of where they've... Oh, careful, Twinkle! Silly girl! Right, down here, you can see where they've actually put in these little dams and gullies to catch it at its lower stages and help it all sink into the ground here, because this little spring doesn't actually form any kind of brook or stream. It disappears back into the ground just down there. I've never seen it do any more than form a big puddle there. And it's only in wet weather that you even get a flow of water. I'll bet there's not flowing water down to the bottom today. Let's go and have a look. But all of this is created by man. But it's one of those rare occasions where we've actually done some good and made a little habitat that wasn't here before. There was a pretty little stream, but there was no wildlife associated with it. Now this is extremely valuable. Still got a little bit of flow down here under the cherry tree. You can see that flowing over the stones. It's still going down here. It's not much of a stream, is it? It's not much of a spring even. But it always fascinated me when I was a kid. I used to love coming up here. Yeah, we've had a fair bit more rain, so yeah, you've got a little pool going on there. And I think actually, yeah, that's the last of it. That's dry from there down to where it finishes there. That's the last little soak away that it's forming. So well done to whoever came up with the idea of doing this, and whoever financed it, and whoever maintains it. It's much better than it used to look. Right, that's it for today. I've got tons more to do. Where's she gone? I'll follow her back to the car. I'm pretty sure that's not the intended mode of transportation for dandelion seeds. But it's going to do the job.